Hi, my name is Anthony Sunjaya from the George Institute for Global Health at UNSW Sydney, Australia. It's a pleasure for me to present our study, a design thinking approach to developing clinical decision support systems for practices in primary care at MedInfo 2021. I would like to start by acknowledging the traditional owners of the land on which we meet today. For me, it's the Gadigal people of the Eora Nation, and pay my respects to elders past, present, and emerging. Breathlessness is a common symptom that's found in 1 in 10 Australians. It is costly and caused by multiple causes such as heart disease, lung disease, and mental health disorders. About 90% of Australians visit a GP at least once a year. Hence, they are likely first to be consulted to a GP. However, previous studies have shown that only 30% of final diagnoses in patients with breathlessness are concordant with primary care referral diagnosis. And furthermore, 82% of those with chronic airways disease had no spirometry as per guidelines, and also most have no asthma action plan as per guidelines. 96% of GPs in Australia use computer for clinical purposes. Hence, there is a possibility of utilizing decision support systems and other digital health tools to improve care. Clinical decision support systems, or CDSS, is a system that's designed to aid directly in clinical decision making through generating patient-specific assessments or recommendations. They have been found in previous studies to provide improvements in care, including for coronary heart disease and also asthma. However, previous reviews, including ours, have shown that trials show that usage was generally low and compliance with CDSS recommendations was also reported to be low. Hence, while designing a user-friendly and validated CDSS is of great importance, its implementation lies within how it can be integrated to existing workflows of end users, in this case, GPs or general practitioners. This is why we decided to utilize the design thinking approach, which was first described in the 1960s and popularized by the Stanford Institute of Design. It is a human-centered approach to innovation and comprises of 6 main steps: empathizing with the end user, defining their problem, ideating possible solutions, prototyping them, testing them again with end users, then implementing them in the end. It is not one cycle, but multiple cycles and iterations till the optimal system is developed and implemented. I will now share our journey in using this design thinking approach to develop the CDSS. First, we empathize and define the problem. We do this by conducting focus groups with GPs from various local health districts, where we develop a high-level workflow overview of where breathlessness management in primary care can be optimized. Then, from the focus group, we requested GPs to propose features to be part of the CDSS. Several parts of these results have been reported elsewhere. But in brief, we can see here in this high-level workflow overview several key points of intervention shown in green, including for history taking, developing a working diagnosis, prescribing medications, patient education, and also recording consults in the EMR. With this, we start to ideate and prototype. Our proposed CDSS is an expert system with integrated information display, order facilitators, documentation support, with evidence base based on guidelines and data sets, and with a simple and intuitive design. We try to adhere to the 10 usability heuristics, including showing feasibility of system status, matching between system and real world, user control, consistency, prevention of errors, recognition rather than recall, because it is our hope that this system can be utilized without much training. Flexibility and efficiency of use, being aesthetic and minimalist in design, help recognize errors and also provide documentation. In brief here, I will explain how we translated the GP purpose features to a design. For example, here, they requested reminders to use an EHR integration. Hence, the low fidelity prototype is located inside an EHR, and we can see here a green CDSS alert button on the top right-hand corner when someone types breathlessness. They mentioned they have limited time and need something simple and short. Hence, we use high-yield history suggestions, provide pretest probabilities, and provide features that limits typing through use of toggles, but also provide flexibility through free text box, as we see on the right-hand corner. They want updated differentials based on previous details. Hence, what we can see here is an integrated information display showing previous consult summaries and an updated differential list. They want recommended important decisions early on, and also a diagnostic pathway that do not establish only a diagnosis, but gives them clues. Hence, we provide priority-based recommendations, and again, use toggles to limit typing, but allow flexibility through use of free text boxes. In the working diagnostic step, they want percentages of likelihoods, recommendations based on it, and we showed this in a likelihood diagram as shown on the top. Then we compare test utility using a color coding system as shown here for the various types of diagnostic testing. For the prescription module, we provide access to recent evidence and a holistic recommendation through guideline summaries as shown here. We also link this to patient education support with modules for education and referral. Lastly, GPs want something that's possible to incorporate to clinical notes. What we do here is provide and auto-generate a structured assessment report, which they can copy into their EHRs. With now the prototype done, we start to do our testing. We do testing virtually through three main types. That is think aloud testing, hotspot image testing, and system usability surveys. For think aloud testing, as will be shown here in this video, which we also show to participants, we request the participant to think aloud while they try to navigate the system to conduct a certain task. In this case, this participant is trying to find out the purpose of this website, as shown here.
I'm looking for ways to support a good cause. What I want to find out is what this organization does. The first thing that catches my eye is this section here. There's steps for something, but I'm not sure what it's for. So I'll go up here and take a look at the topics. These options don't really tell me much more about what this organization does. The need maybe has to do with regions that have needs. I'm just guessing, I'm not sure. So let's go to About Us. Maybe I'll find something in there. This image, maybe this organization is about feeding children. Let's read further. I like these two short paragraphs. Although this first paragraph really doesn't answer my question. Okay, it's not until the second paragraph that I find out what this organization does.
As we can see here, the participant talks out loud on what they think as they navigate the system.
I'm looking for ways to...
What we do is the same. We provide several task scenarios. This is one example where the end user is requested to navigate and perform a consult for a 65-year-old female with breathlessness, mildly obese with cardiac risk factors using our prototype. Furthermore, we also do hotspot image testing where screenshots with annotations were provided and participants were told to select and hover over features that they like to select and choose to color them in green. And in reverse, select those that they dislike in red. After the think aloud testing, we also utilize the validated system usability survey to understand their agreements or disagreements with following experience, where, for example, where they would like to use the CDSS frequently and the likes. Our participants are GPs from varying local health districts, both early, mid-career, and more senior GPs, with a ratio of years in practice from 6 to 45 years. We include 3 to 5 participants per usability testing. For test 1, what we found is that GPs said that it's simple to use, clear quantitative information, intuitive, but provide limited differentials, history rate taking suggestions. Early to mid-career GPs we seem to find it more helpful than those with more experience. Furthermore, they do realize and say that CDSS remind them of potential differentials, they like the links to validate questionnaires, although one reported that there's no need for integrated information display of past history, as they can easily navigate it themselves in the EHR. Several navigational issues were found, and a more streamlined user interface was requested. And then, hence, following the design thinking approach, which can be shown in this double diamond as well, what we did is, after converging on a prototype, we diverge again, start ideating again to solve these issues, and then prototype and test. So this is an example of an updated prototype. So the previous version is on the right, and on the left we see we add options to view more differentials, info buttons, and also use icons rather than a wizard style computer decision support system. Then we also see here we change the way reminders are shown through a pop-up, and we do A/B testing to compare which one is better, a pop-up on the right-hand corner or a pop-up on the center of the screen, which means that it will interrupt their flow. What we find from this is that they find it useful and that it helps ensure a detailed history is taken, and they like the ability to be able to quantify probabilities, EHR integration, and propose a way to resume progress made to be included as part of the CDSS. They find that it will be tempting to only use this for those with diagnostic dilemmas, so not all breathlessness patients. Some said they're non-familiar with the system at this point, raised issues on medical legal implications of following and not following recommendations. They also describe how many tools are already available in practice, and that's why they prefer maybe intrusive reminders to remind them to use this system. System usability scores did improve between both prototypes, but it remains under the OK category qualitatively. Our limitations is certainly the use of low fidelity prototypes. These imposed limitations are what we could test. All the previous studies for game design have showed that major issues found for low and high fidelity prototypes remain similar. But this also allows us to do more rapid iteration and keep costs comparatively low. And through this design thinking approach, what we can do is we can understand the desirability of our system, how feasible it is to develop and prototype, and also how viable it is possibly to implement in practice very early on and quite quickly. In future, more cycles are planned, and we're still recruiting GPs, specialists, allied health, digital health experts, patients, and we'll further refine this into a high fidelity prototype. We'll plan to do more mixed method usability studies and also a pilot trial. I would like to thank the study team here, Professor Christine Jenkins, Dr. Alison Humphreys, Dr. Claire Arnett, Associate Professor Gianluca, and Scientia Professor Guy Marks, as well as our collaborators and funders of this project. Thank you. We would certainly be happy to receive any comments or questions you may have on this. Please do not hesitate to email us at a.sunjaya@unsw.edu.au or tag me on Twitter at sunjayamd. Thank you. I wish you a pleasant conference this year.